I would like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our city council meetings are broadcast on television on Comcast Channel 99 and rebroadcast on WMGJ Radio. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Toles.
Here.
Councilman Williams.
Here.
Worthy.
Here.
Eccles.
Here.
Billingsley.
Here.
Cannon.
Here.
And Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. We'll have to ask for your indulgence. We seem to be having some technical difficulties with our PA system tonight. So those of us that have no power on our mics, we will try to speak loudly enough so that we can be heard. I'm going to ask Jeremy Ward to lead the invocation. Please.
Father, we thank you for the day that you've given us, and God, we thank you for the blessing of being able to meet and to just discuss the things of our city. God, I pray tonight that you give our leaders wisdom in all that they do and say, and may they glorify you in it and bless our city through it. Lord, we ask for traveling mercies as we leave, just to see you and how you work, and we praise you for that.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and city council meeting held on February 9th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
The chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of accounts for the weeks of February 5th through the 11th and the 12th through the 18th.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Proclamations, Mayor. Unfinished business. Item number 8A is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 926 Avenue A in District 3. Spencer Thomas's estate, James Thomas Staples, care of Layla Thomas, being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on January 12th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Ask for another 30-day table, please.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Item number 8B is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 812 Reynolds Circle in District 5. Jonathan Connor Wells, James M. Barton Jr., and wife Tanya Well being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on January 19th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Upon recommendation of the building department, ask for 30 days.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
Item number 8C is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at number 2 Laurel Road in District 6, JK Properties LLC and Jeff Edmondson being the last known owners. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on January 12th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Due to the improvements Mr. Evans is making on this piece of property, and on the recommendation of the building department, ask for 30-day extension, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for an additional 30 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to table for 30 days.
All right, the items number D and E, the nuisances on property located at 2301 and 2303 Sansom Avenue have been abated by the owner. Therefore, no action by the council is needed at this time. Item number 8F is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 103 Body Street in District 7, Gwendolyn Ann Mink being the last known owner. This resolution was tabled for 30 days on January 12th. What is the pleasure of the council?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
This is the time and place as advertised to conduct a public hearing allowing anyone to speak in opposition to or in favor of a resolution ordering abatement of nuisances on property located at 215 Morningview Drive in District 2. Tommy Simmons Williams and Annie Pearl Williams being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, I'm Brian Harbison with the Building Department. We started this case in November of 2011. There've been no improvements to the property. There were 2 building permits taken out, one in November of 2011 and one in February of 2014, but as you can see in the pictures, no improvements. We're asking for a resolution today to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 435 North 11th Street in District 3. Lemuriel Everett, Lavorne Pierce, and Stephania P. Darby being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I'll try to be fast.
We're in a hurry.
Sorry, Mr. President. We started this case in November of 2014. There have been no improvements, so there are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 439 North 11th Street in District 3, Mary Williams being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, this case involves a house and a garage apartment. We started our process in November of 2014. There have been no improvements. There was a building permit taken out a year ago this month with no action taken on that. We're asking for a resolution today to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to abate.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 1138 3rd Avenue in District 5, A&D Investments LLC being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in September of 2011. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate the nuisance.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 507 South 13th Street in District 5, Jairus Rawls being the last known owner. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in July of 2014. There have been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance.
What is the pleasure of the council?
I move to abate the nuisance.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 307 Pearl Street in District 6, Teddy and Kathy Vineyard and the Southern Credit Union being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in April of last year. Councilman Cannon and myself have had a conversation with the owner in the last hour, and he has promised if we could give him a little time, he could complete the repairs on the back of the house. As you can see in the pictures, everything around the front and the sides appears to be okay. It's the rear that we have the issue with. But I'll just leave that in Councilman Cannon's hands. There's the picture, and there you go.
All right, thank you. What is the pleasure of the council?
I move on, to give Mr. Vineyard 15 days, table for 15 days, please. He was up here talking with Mr. Harbison and myself a while ago. It's just the back part there. He's had some family issues, and he told me that he would try to complete this in 15 days. That's what I'm asking for, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to table the resolution for 15 days, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries to table for 15 days.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 130 Elswood Boulevard in District 7. John Larry and Sheila Ann Willis being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, this case has been condemned a couple of times. First time in 2003. It was tied up in circuit court for several years. Upon the recommendation of the legal department, we closed that case and reopened it January of last year. Been no improvements. There are no permits to improve, and we're asking for a resolution to abate the nuisance. Thank you.
All right, what is the,
He's 20 years old. That's what I thought. We've been trying to tear this down since I came over town.
what is the pleasure of the council?
Second.
All right, is there any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our next public hearing is a resolution ordering abatement of nuisance on property at 2206 Nakalula Road in District 7. William T. Morrow and wife Evelyn F. Morrow being the last known owners. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Or if you would, give us your name and address.
David Lawson, 241 Kenwood Circle, 35904. I have been given permission by the property owner to speak on his behalf in the event that either himself or his legal counsel fail to show up today's meeting. The issue is that he needs additional time. It's a content value issue. He just wants time to collect everything inside, get it cleared out, and also what would be the least financially hurtful venue, what the charge would be if the city did raise it, what would the charge be for him to permit demolition. So 30 days with specific instructions on the best way to handle the issue.
Okay, all right, thank you.
David, can I speak on that, Mr. President? This is not in my district. I have some friends that lives all around that house. And the back of it's falling off. Did you know that? The back's falling off, and they're just, people on the other block behind them, they're awful worried about the thing that's gonna collapse. No, I'm just telling you. Just telling you.
All right, does anyone else wish to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor?
Mr. President, we started this case in October of 2014. There have been no improvements. There was a building permit taken out a year ago this month. Concerning the items inside the house, with a resolution tonight, we would still give the owner the opportunity to collect any items of importance to him. We would actually issue a demolition permit to him at no charge, let him do that himself. Or if the city ends up demolishing the property, we'll give him 3 years to pay for it. Typically, you're looking at about a $3,000 cost, so it's less than $100 a month. Our recommendation is you pass the resolution. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. What is the pleasure of the council?
I'll move to that.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yes, it is. We've been working on this for a number of years and promising and talking back and forth and so on and so forth. I think the best thing to do is to go ahead and abate the property, and then we'll have a period of time between now and the time to tear it down moving rather slowly. I think we can handle that.
Okay. Is there any additional discussion?
We say this all the time. We don't want the property. If you can't afford to knock it down and keep it up, we'll knock it down and you make the payments. Mr. Harbison just said it's a 3-year deal. It's right around $100 or less than $100 a month. We don't like knocking houses down, but they are so bad and we get so many complaints we have to. We take no pleasure in knocking someone's house down. Exactly. We have all kind of crime and people, homeless people living in them, and it's just a bad situation. So if you can't keep it up, just let us know and we'll knock it down and you can make payments. Thank you.
Is there any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our final public hearing is a resolution assessing nuisance abatement liens assessing a nuisance abatement lien on property at 1107 Stillman Avenue in District 2. Arthur Leon Jolly and Brenda Ann Jolly Chambliss being the last known owners. This is for rehabilitation work that has already been performed, and the amount is $7,714.71. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to adopt.
Move to,
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Our final public hearing is a resolution approving issuance of an alcoholic beverage license. The Wall Street Pump and Go, located at 2631 Forest Avenue in District 6, has applied for an off-premises only retail beer license. Is there anyone who would like to speak in opposition to this resolution? Does anyone wish to speak in favor? What is the pleasure of the council?
Move to adopt the resolution.
oh,
I believe you've got somebody out there who'd like to say something.
Okay, sir, if you'll come to the microphone.
He's the owner of the store there, Mr. Turnbull.
Okay. And just for the record, are you speaking in favor or in opposition to? Okay, give us your name and address, sir.
My name is Christopher Honeycutt. I live at 4048 County Road 48 in Cedar Bluff, Alabama. I just purchased a store for my cousin, and just trying to receive alcohol license to help slow some of the traffic down from that side of town crossing Megan. It would help a little bit, I think. Other than that, I appreciate y'all's time.
Oh, all right. Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to speak in favor? Okay, what is the pleasure of the council?
I recommend we pass it, please.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, new business, is there any new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have two, but the first one is a request from Parks and Recreation, and I ask for unanimous consent. It's concerning the senior nutrition program, and it's a grant.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today as an item of new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
No more than this is a grant for $104,891, and it has to do with the feeding of seniors at the different recreational centers or activity centers. So it's something that's, we've been doing all the time.
Any additional discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Is there any more new business?
I have another one. This is I ask for unanimous consent for the approval of an issuance of an alcoholic beverage license for the National Wildlife Turkey Federation.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, consent has been granted.
I move for adoption.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
This is an event that the National Wildlife Turkey Federation have. It's basically a fundraiser that will go on March the 5th. So they're just needing a specialty beverage license.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote? There's no other discussion. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay. Is there any more new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have three. The first one is from Communication Department, a resolution authorizing agreement with Motorola Solutions Incorporated for the Astro P25 upgrade, communication systems agreement, and software license agreement for installation, maintenance, support, and other services. I ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Okay, this is the budget amount of $829,007. And the fire chief, if he want to elaborate a little bit on it, come on up and tell us a little bit about it, since you're here.
I'm Steve Carroll, the fire chief of the city of Gadsden. Motorola last year came to us and told us that our system will no longer be serviceable by the end of this year. We've been in negotiation with them for the rest of the year, and we've also determined that the cheapest route for us to go is to join the statewide system, so this will bring us in line with the other cities that have P25 systems and make us interoperable with the other cities throughout the state of Alabama.
Thank you, Chief. Now, move to adopt, please.
Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, and I have another one from the Finance Department. I ask for unanimous consent. It's amending the fiscal year 16 general fund budget by transferring $1,073,034 from the unassigned fund to specified amounts for the new Motorola equipment agreement, past due Motorola service contract, and rehabilitation storage for Boys and Girls Club, aka the General Forest. Ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and second to consider today. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the ordinance today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, we have unanimous consent for consideration.
Move to adopt, please.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
On the discussion, the Motorola equipment is, and for the service in the Motorola agreement is $829,000. Then the contractual service is another $31,527. That's to be used for the past due Motorola service contract. And then the community center renovation is $212,500 to be used for the storage for the Boys and Girls Club over at General Forest.
Did we ever determine what the period was for that past due service? Did we ever determine what the period was for that past due service? How long? Was it a year agreement? Was it 6 months? The past due service.
The past due service on the Motorola.
Past due.
Yeah, the 31,000.
That was during the negotiation phase. It was, I believe $8,800 a month, so I think it was from November to January, or December, November to January.
Okay, so it was about 3 or 4 months, maybe. Yeah, okay.
While we were in negotiation, they were aware of the phase, what the exact amount.
Okay.
Could I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
About 5 years ago, the communications tower was about gone, and we paid, I think, $3 million for 5 years, $600,000 a year. And before then, if a policeman in Rainbow City wanted to talk to a policeman in Gadsden, he went to his dispatch, to our dispatch, to the officer, and back to the dispatch and back. But now there's channels for all the municipalities in the county for the law enforcement, and they can go straight to Rainbow City if we're chasing somebody that way, or Hope, but whatever. But it made it a lot safer for everybody and a lot quicker. And technology, I hate to say it, but it always needs upgrading.
I have one.
Okay, we need to vote on this one?
Yeah, well, we finished discussing.
Did we vote on it? Yeah, we voted on it. Okay.
We're through discussing. I move to adopt, please.
Second.
All right.
We have a motion and a second, but we were in discussion.
All right. So clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay.
I have one more.
Okay.
This is from the Personnel Department, and authorizing an agreement with McCann Associates for the administration of the police and fire exam. I'm asked for unanimous consent.
Second.
Okay. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Yes, I think we need to do our own test, but I was outvoted on that, so we'll just keep paying these people to do it.
And also, I believe the chief, the fire chief said that in the past, they haven't had to have an agreement, and now they're having to have an agreement, so this is why we're having to do this resolution also.
Exactly. Thank you.
All right, is there any additional comments or discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, I ask for unanimous consent to bring up today the document authorizing an agreement with the Boys and Girls Club for the use of the Gadsden Coliseum.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
All right, is there any more new business?
Yes, Mr. President, I have two. The first one's authorizing issuance of a special event license to Northeast Alabama Kidney Association for an event to be held on March the 4th at Convention Hall.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new business?
The next one I ask for unanimous consent for is authorizing the satisfaction of nuisance fund abatement at 805 Middle Street. They've offered $1,500 plus $20 for each document we have. And the lady to buy this is Gloria S. Little.
Second.
Okay, clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to consider the resolution today under new business, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, consent has been granted.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, any additional discussion?
I believe that this is a lady who had her property abated and demolition that was done, so she's making payments on it, which I would just like to say I'm appreciative of that, because there are some people who, even though we demolished their property, they still doesn't pay. So I'd like to commend Ms. Little.
Second that.
Okay, good point. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Okay, is there any more new business? Department reports, committees, chief?
This is not a sneaker. First of all, I'm Steve Carroll, Fire Chief of the City of Gadsden, and I come to you thanking you for your support, your mayor's support, and everything for continuing to allow us to do charitable work within the fire department and raise money for different charities. I was here a couple of months ago telling you about our successful program with our Toys from Santa program. We just recently were awarded the Golden Axe from the Muscular Dystrophy program because we raised the most amount of money in populations between 25,000 and 100,000. So the City of Gadsden finally brings back home the Golden Axe for the most money raised for muscular dystrophy. And we appreciate y'all's support, and we hope to continue to have your support in the future in order for us to continue to raise the monies for these special events. City of Champion. That's a nice golden axe.
That's very nice.
Okay, citizens' request, Mr. Tom Hudson. Mr. Hudson, you get to come over here this time.
I talk pretty loud.
You okay? Oh, okay, all right.
Y'all, this is gonna sound crazy, but when the governor of Alabama, he was redoing the budget this time, and I noticed he defunded ADM, and I thought, ADM, why is he taking their money away? Of course, I don't want to talk politics, because I don't trust many politicians of either kind, and I'm sorry, y'all, I don't want to hurt your feelings. But that being said, they don't like funding EPA, ADM, anything to do with the environment. They don't believe in global warming. That's everybody's right, but I mean, the facts don't lie. But that being said, when he defunded it, I thought, I don't like the sound of that. I mean, you know, that's people that check the water. So just a little bit later, I got my old dog and I headed from Hopes Bluff to Center, or Leesburg. And I crossed over the cut through there from the dam to the powerhouse level. And there's one that Mayor Means knows where that cut through there was, but I won't say anything else. That being said, I got to looking and they had about 200 or 300 people and tractors and all this stuff on that cut. And there is a shrubbery company that was in operation 4 or 5 years ago on that cut, and it just about went out of business. And while it was there, I always thought, well, man, what are they spraying on that? All those shrubs? It's potting plants. They're not in the ground. And it's 1.6 miles long and probably a fifth of a mile wide for 1.6 miles of shrubbery. And they pump the water out of the river, and they spray the herbicides and the pesticides and the fertilizers and all that on these shrubbery, and then it runs down at a slant into the river. And I thought, oh God, we're not far from the water intake at Gadsden into the water board. And I thought, that can't be good. So I called the guy at the water board, and I told him, you know, what I saw, and he said, yeah. He said, we've done heard they're cranking back up. He said, when they were in operation before, it dealt us misery, was the quote that the guy used. And I said, you mean you could pick it up? He said, almost the next day. You know, you could pick it up the next day when they were in operation. And I thought, well, I wonder if that has anything to do with them defunding ADM where they won't be able to check it, you know. So, and then I got to thinking, well, look at Flint, Michigan. They poisoned 100,000 people, the politicians did. And what got me worst of all was just about when all that was going on, and I'm thinking, man, what about our water? And then I thought about the all the water bottles in City Hall. And I understand about the plumbing and all, but all the City Hall is on bottled water. And yet, the water fountain that you go check, I went to every floor, and the water fountain is, you go to the water fountain on this wall, you walk right beside it and go into the bathroom. And I thought, well, how expensive could it be? If the plumbing's bad and the bathroom works, all the bathrooms work just fine, because I flushed I've checked it. And I thought, I don't want something, it's bad when City Hall goes on bottled water and the people are drinking out of the tap, and I'm one of them. But that being said, what really bothered me most of all was December the 25th in the Birmingham News, there was an article about life expectancy of all, in the United States. And I'll just read you a quick quote. I know my time's running. The fact is, Americans are living longer than ever before, but the progress isn't being seen everywhere. In fact, a recent analysis of life expectancy identified the city with the lowest life expectancy in Alabama. That same city also has the lowest life expectancy in the country. Gadsden, Alabama. I read it in the Birmingham paper and I thought, what? So I thought, I don't believe that. They blamed it on the lifestyle and overweight, smoking cigarettes and all, but I thought, well, I can't believe that Gadsden smokes any more than any other city or heavier. And I got to thinking, well, what in the world? How could Gadsden be the worst in the United States? And so I thought, well, maybe it's the water. Because, you hear about the water and defunding ADM and all this stuff going on, and there has to be a reason why the citizens of Gadsden, Alabama have the lowest life expectancy of any city in the United States. And I called the guy that did the study, the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, 24/7 Wall Street. It was the articles in the Wall Street Journal telling everybody in the United States that Gadsden has the lowest life expectancy of any city. But I got so disturbed when I read all of this that the one thing I would like to do is the Gadsden City Council and the mayor, especially the mayor, I would like to see y'all petition the government. And by the way, I know this is something Gadsden doesn't want to, and I love Gadsden. I live here all my life. It's beautiful. I love it here. But it's not good advertisement for Gadsden to see something like this.
Mr. Hudson.
Petition the mayor and the city council to petition the governor to find out why Gadsden, Alabama has the lowest life expectancy of any city in the United States.
Mr. Hudson, I want to give you 30 seconds to wrap up, sir. Your 5 minutes is up. I want to give you 30 seconds to wrap up.
Anyway, I would love it if y'all would ask the governor to find out why Gadsden has the lowest life expectancy in the United States. And I checked it out on the internet, by the way, and it took me a while, but everything's true. Tried to get the Gadsden Times to put it in there, but for some reason they wouldn't put it in the paper. I mean, do the citizens of Gadsden not have a right to know that they have the shortest lifespan of any city in the United States? And our elected officials' job is to take care of their constituents in their district.
I got to ask you, who did the study? I didn't hear.
The Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, and it was in the Wall Street Journal, 24/7 part of the business part of Wall Street Journal.
New York.
I never have seen a representative here,
Well, I talked to him on the phone for about 10 minutes. He was a professor at the University of Washington, and I said, what makes you say that Gadsden has the shortest lifespan? He said, sir, all we do is use all government facts and figures. He said, that's the government facts and figures for Gadsden, Alabama.
I'm kind of glad you brought that to our attention. I keep looking over at me and Bob and wondering where we made it this far.
I think the water board's doing a good job. I'm not criticizing. I mean, not the board or the water department.
I want to address the speakers to it, and I'm opposed to you because that came out of the speaker agreement in City Hall.
Came out of what?
The speaker agreement in City Hall right there in the foyer. She runs it down here all the time. Our problem here, since I've been here, the fountain, the water fountain, has never worked. I used to go out and pour my coffee down here.
basically, the quality.
You ain't been here long,
city,
man.
which I have no worry about with that. But the water in this city, I've always walked around, I've been drinking. Not for a laugh, but that's what I've been drinking. Water in this city.
Out of the drinking fountain?
Oh, you can't think of what they're, I think they're disconnected. I don't think you will. I don't think you could do it. I don't know. It's one it's not good. I don't know.
Well, all the drinking fountains I checked didn't work.
They don't. That's what I'm saying. If you want some water, get back in that area right there behind the water closet. That's where I get mine.
Surely, after Flint, Michigan, you can understand when they have water bottle in all the offices, might hit the city hall, you know.
No, if I just get the hand, get this thing going down and do it there, so that you work.
And by the way, I'd like to thank the city for fixing that hole that I've been trying to get them fixed for about 6 weeks up there on the scenic drive. And they wouldn't do nothing. Look, I went by a while ago and it was fixed. It's a miracle.
That was my last.
Council.
You gotta fit it up.
Yeah. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Tom Bob Eccles. I don't know whether you heard me or not. Is this thing working?
Yeah, it's working.
Tom,
Mr. Hudson. Mr. Hudson,
Yes.
he's talking to you. Bob talking.
I just want, I heard what you said, and so I want to make it clear that the water from the water department is the cleanest in the state. We just put in a new system, and it's, to me, it's the Coosa River Punch. It's so good. And I just want people to know we don't have lead pipes. We may have a few fittings that are lead, but we check for lead all the time. We're not Flint, Michigan. And
I was using being a little extreme, and I drink the water out of the faucet myself. Like I say, when at City Hall they have bottled water, you start going.
I think what somebody, it seems to me, decided that the fountains that we used to have, you know, they were electric, they kept the water cool, that it was cheaper to do the bottled water that we're using than it was to keep the upkeep and everything on all those equipment. So I don't remember exactly what the situation was, but it.
Well, the thing is, Bobby, and I appreciate you checking on that and letting me know the information. And by the way, I will say this, the other morning I got up and I got a glass of water there at the kitchen sink. And boy, I was thirsty, and I guzzled that water down. It was good and ice cold, and I thought, man, that's good.
That is good.
All right, thank you.
I'm stealing everybody. I don't know why everybody, but I'd like the governor to find out.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Hudson. We appreciate it. Thank you. Sure, go right ahead.
I just want to say, Mr. Hudson, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And we need more citizens to get involved in it, because we don't, get information on everything. So, appreciate you.
Remarks by the mayor and council. Mayor?
Yeah, I've got disturbed by an article by this lady, I can't even think of her name, on the internet, about we were the cheapest paid police officers in the state, and she had us at like about $47,000, and the average pay for police and fire is $70,000 with benefits and all, and then it's about $80,000 for police because they get to drive their cars within 10 miles of City Hall, so no gas, no repairs, no car payment, no insurance. Also, one thing on the, we're doing the recycling, it's working really good, but on the smoking, we stopped a lot of the smoking in all the restaurants and bars and all that kind of stuff. And I finally got in touch with her, she couldn't get in touch with them. And she got that information somewhere, but she didn't go back and print a update on it. But if you go down and sit around the mall or go shopping or sit around a little while and look at the obesity rate, I guarantee you that's got a lot to do with it. People don't, we got all kind of walking trails and tracks and parks. If we need to get people to go use it a lot more. But anyway, I hope they do. Maybe they'll hear this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I'll echo that. I mean, I think it's well known, well documented fact. Alabama's you know, widely been considered a poor health state. And it has a lot to do, I think that those medical facts don't lie. And it has a lot to do with lifestyle choices and, you know, the lack of exercise along with poor eating habits. And I honestly don't contribute it holistically at any level to water quality. But that's an interesting point. You can't really argue with data. That's a very interesting point. But you know, I'd be surprised if you could attribute at a high degree life expectancy to water quality. So, but I'm not a scientist, so I'm just a politician, right? Councilwoman Tolles?
No.
All right. Councilman Eccles?
I said mine.
All right. Councilman Worthy?
Yeah, I got a couple of things to say. First of all, I would like to say congratulations to the Gadsden City basketball team. Even though we came up short today in the tournament, in the finals, those guys, they left it all on the court. They played one heck of a game, and we come up short, but that's okay, because winning is not everything. As long as those kids continue their education and go play sports, go on to college, that's the main thing. That's what I told them this morning when we had breakfast. You know, to keep a good attitude, and your attitude will take you a long way. And they showed good attitude out there on the court, and they really played. The mayor was there, and they've noticed you've been at the games, and a lot of people talk about that. You was there today, and that's right, and they really appreciate it. The kids really do. So just think about them, and then I'm going to switch from that and talk about on March the 19th at Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church, we're going to have a severe weather day at Mount Pilgrim from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, where EMA will be there. I'm going to try to get the fire department to come and the police department to also come. And they're going to hand out brochures and different stuff and talk about the weather. If you have a weather radio, they will program the radio for you and all that. They don't have any more to hand out, but if you know, you have one, I hear a lot of people talking they have one, but they don't get anything on it, so that it needs to be programmed. That's again, I'll announce it again. It's on March the 19th from 10 to 12 at Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church there on North 9th Street. And also on that same day, after that from 12 to 1, I'm gonna have my community meeting there at Mount Pilgrim Church. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Billingsley?
Nothing.
Councilman Cannon?
Yes, we're gonna change our meeting around. And in Banks Park, it's gonna be the first Tuesday of every month from 5:30 to 6:30. At Banks Park, starting next Tuesday night, we'll be there next Tuesday night from 5:30 to 6:30.
Councilman Reed? Okay. Just a couple quick points. Please continue to pay attention to, if you haven't been tracking, please continue to pay attention to the legislature as they're in session. There are a number of bills that are passing on both the Senate, or that are moving through the process, I should say, on both the Senate and the House side, that are addressing issues of importance to this area. So please continue to track that. If you haven't developed an appetite for that stuff, you probably should, because again, a lot of what they're talking about down there impacts us. Mayor, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, finish.
Okay, and so a couple things I'll highlight, a couple topics. I won't try to call bill numbers and things of that nature, but the lottery, of course, is something that not very many people expect to pass, but it's still on life support right now and making its way through the process. There are a number of sales tax initiatives, sales tax bills that are being discussed. Some regarding groceries and some regarding gasoline. Many of which are seeking to take away the municipality's ability to levy taxes. So we're always concerned about that, because when they take away but don't put back, that impacts us all. And then, of course, the Common Core standard, there are a couple of education-oriented bills that are floating around out there. So regardless as to what your position is on politics in general or just any of those specific topics, I think it's important for us to make sure that we don't just turn our lives and our interest over to elected officials. I think we should get behind them and be informed, be as informed as we can. The only other thing I have is that the Boys and Girls Club at the Jack Gadsden Coliseum will be having a Black History event on tomorrow at 5 p.m. And again, it'll be tomorrow 5 p.m. at the Jack Gadsden Coliseum. I think that's all I have, Mayor.
I want to piggyback on that about the legislature being in session. And the problem we have is you have the people in Washington and the people in Montgomery, and they just keep passing what they call unfunded mandates, where they pass it on down to the municipalities and the counties, but they don't send any money with the things they want us to do. And that's making it extremely tough for us to operate a lot of times. You know, they just keep rolling it all downhill because it doesn't affect them. So I would say if you want to write letters or call them our delegation and tell them they need to be looking out for us on some of the things they're trying to do down there. But I mean, it's every year they pass stuff to us with no money to fund it. So thank you.
Yeah. We've got one that does call us occasionally to give us a heads up. Yeah. But then otherwise we generally don't get that phone call saying, hey, there's a bill making its way through that's going to impact you. And for me, that's concerning. Councilman Worthy.
I was just going to say, you know, we talk about what's going on down in Montgomery and Washington. What we need to do is register to vote, register people to vote, go vote because it matters. You know, he was talking about the life expectancy here in Gadsden. You know, that also has something to do with health care. You know, you had a president that passed the Congress passed the ACA, Affordable Care Act, and then they trying to kill it. So go vote, go get registered, you know, to vote, and then maybe we could change some of this stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, and the last thing is there's been a lot of talk over the last couple of days about minimum wage, and you know, the fact that Birmingham actually reached out or actually extended itself and passed a minimum wage hike. Now you have to remember that Birmingham has a luxury that we don't have. Birmingham's a major metropolitan area who is not going to feel the hit of a competitive advantage or the loss thereof when they raise their minimum wage. Think about what going from the current rate of $7.25 up to $10 does for the cost of doing business for any retail industry trying to come here. That's significant. And if we did that, what we would do is we would push them into Rainbow City and Southside, and it would have an impact on us. So we have to be careful. You're looking at somebody who is a huge proponent of a minimum wage hike, but I think I'm practical enough to understand that as a city, I can't just jump out there and say I'm for it and not realize the cost to the city as a whole. So just be practical as you watch that argument and as you manage that argument, because we don't have the luxury that Birmingham has as relates to that, and I commend them because it's a bold step on their part and it's driving the discussion. So I commend them for that. But again, Mayor,
I want to add to that. That's a good topic. According to Area Development Magazine, population is 350,000 or less. We were the only city in the South that our average wage has gone up 24 months in a row. And I think we like a nickel bid at $16. Of course, I know that ain't $50, but still, you know, with the economy we've had, that's saying pretty good about getting things in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Is there any additional discussion? And I'm just interested. Let's do one participative item before we adjourn. You know, if you don't mind, and you don't have to vote, just raise your hands if you are supportive of the of increasing minimum wage. And I'll increasing the minimum wage. Yeah, we're increasing the minimum wage. Okay, that's about a third of the crowd.
What it feels doing, everybody in the country over That's what-
But if you do raise it, then you got the state down there passing a bill saying that the cities cannot raise it. So, what kind of mess is that? But anyway.
I'm a strong believer that we should leave the increase of the minimum wage in the hands of the feds. That way, everybody has to do it. And from an industrial recruiting standpoint, it's a level playing field. You know, we don't have to worry about pricing ourselves out. So.
I don't agree with that.
All right. I entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Move to adjourn.